Brian Myers, the former Curt Hawkins, WWE's former Curt Hawkins, has tweeted a video speculating that he could be another WWE or ex-WWE superstar now to go to Impact Wrestling and debut at Slammiversary. Now, last night he tweeted a video of himself, just one of those sort of hyping up videos we've seen a lot of the former WWE superstars do, with the caption, quote, "Freedom is coming July 18th, end quote. Now, of course, Slammiversary, Impact Wrestling Slammiversary is, of course, on July 18th, but it's also the date around the period of time. We don't know the exact time, but the exact date, but around the period of time that the WWE superstars that got released in April after WrestleMania, their non-compete clauses expire. So it could be on that date or just before then. Now, of course, Brian Myers, Curt Hawkins, does have history in Impact Wrestling. He appeared with the promotion around in, was it 2016, 2017? It was around the period of time that you had the Jeff Jarrett GFW invasion angle with Global Force Wrestling and Jeff Jarrett's gold bars. Do you remember that? But at that time, Brian Myers was part of GFW, part of Global Force Wrestling, and he was part of the GFW invasion of Impact Wrestling, and he became a TNA World Tag Team Champion with Trevor Lee at the time. So he does have history with Impact Wrestling, and it looks like Brian Myers, as I speculated on our other videos, could be the latest addition to the Impact Wrestling roster. Impact Wrestling certainly snapping up all of these former WWE superstars, the WWE superstars that got released in April. It's been speculated that the non-compete clause for these WWE superstars that got released in April after WrestleMania is up on July 15th. That is the last day under the non-compete clause, which maybe would make a bit of sense considering that they did get released on a Wednesday back in April. So having the 90-day release ending on July 15th, a Wednesday, July 15th, that could make sense there, which of course would free the likes of Brian Myers, EC3, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Heath Slater, Eric Young. Yes, the list is really that long to appear at Slammiversary. Some people have speculated, of course, that he could be the mystery contestant for the World Championship match at Slammiversary also. As I mentioned previously, Tessa Blanchard, the former Impact World Champion, was fired last week and stripped of the Impact Wrestling World Championship. I'm saying last week, honestly, that feels like 4 weeks ago, or at least a month ago. Wrestling news and wrestling, what happens inside of professional wrestling moves just so quickly, doesn't it? It moves so quickly. So some people speculating, could Brian Myers be the fourth contestant for the World Championship match at Slammiversary, of course. Now it's a fatal four-way match at Slammiversary for the Impact World Championship. I don't think he will be the mystery fourth competitor for the championship match at Slammiversary. This is no critique on Brian Myers, but I just don't think he's necessarily big enough for that role. If that would be the best use of his debut, I think when he comes into Impact Wrestling, he'll probably be competing for the likes of maybe the World Tag Team Championship. We'll touch on who that could be with in a second, or maybe even the X Division Championship. That kind of, I think he would fit into that kind of mold nicely. I'm not sure he's really, as of yet, World Championship material. Look, once he debuts in Impact Wrestling, he could absolutely get to that level. There's no doubt. I mean, who knows what can happen in professional wrestling, right? He can get over. The reason he got hired back by WWE in 2016, that's just reminded me then. I've said 2016, 2017 for GFW. It must have been before then, 2015. Excuse me. The reason WWE hired him in 2016 was because he was getting over. He got over in Impact Wrestling. He got over on the independent scene. I think he had a no ropes barbed wire match and an indie show. Like, he was doing good stuff and stuff that was getting people talking. So he came back and was back in from WWE when they did the initial brand extension in 2016. So yeah, of course, the GFW was 2015. Apologies. It's been a long day. So he potentially joins the likes of an EC3, of a Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Eric Young, Heath Slater, that have all teased appearing at Slammiversary on July 18th. So Impact Wrestling is certainly doubling down on signing all of these ex-WWE stars. Some people are calling them, is it WWE version 2 or WWE 2.0? And questioning, realistically, should Impact be bringing in all of these WWE superstars that have just got released by WWE? Are they tarnished? Does it help Impact? Well, I don't think it hurts them. I really don't. A lot of people have been speaking about in the past when TNA would do this in the past. If someone would get released and then suddenly they would show up in TNA and it just didn't feel right. But Impact Wrestling is a completely different place to what TNA was back in the day. TNA was obviously the number 2 wrestling company in the world, in the United States. Possibly New Japan was bigger than them, but certainly in North America they were the number 2 company. And at the time, they were trying to compete with WWE and trying to make themselves seem as big as WWE. They never were. I mean, they could never fill out an arena, but that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to compete, and every time you would get a release from WWE and they would show up straight away in TNA, it did kind of violate the brand and watered it down and made it feel like WWE version 2. Impact Wrestling isn't the same like that anymore. Impact Wrestling isn't going to trying to compete with WWE because they're so far away from WWE. They're so far removed that they're never going to compete with WWE. They're just not that size of company. Look at the shows that they produce. The production quality is actually really high, but just Impact Wrestling just isn't on the same level financially, in terms of the fans they draw, etc., as a WWE. They're just not. So for Impact Wrestling to be signing these guys that have just been released from WWE, I don't think it hurts Impact Wrestling at all. I think it actually helps them. Now people are going, oh yeah, but it's not going to boost the ratings. Maybe not. Maybe it won't boost the ratings. I think maybe a little bit. I don't even know if the ratings do they really matter that much on Access Television. I think where Impact makes its money, obviously they'd have the TV deals, but it's more about helping the brand at this point and getting people talking about them on social media and on the likes of YouTube and on the likes of Twitch. And I think that's what Impact Wrestling are looking to do here. Get people talking once again about Impact Wrestling in a positive light for once and not a negative light. Remember, the only times that people would really talk about TNA and Impact Wrestling for however many years is in a negative light because of the terrible things that have been going on behind the scenes, the mismanagement, the lawsuits, the lack of money, the people not getting paid on time, etc., etc. That's what people have always associated TNA and Impact Wrestling with. So they just want to get people talking about the company in a positive light, I think. And I think signing these talents is a sign of trying to do something positive, trying to improve the product and trying to grow the brand and try and do a bit of damage control on a brand that at certain points has been severely damaged. Impact Wrestling put a post on their Twitter yesterday that June was actually Impact Wrestling's best ever month on YouTube. You think about all the history they've got, this was the best month they've ever had on YouTube. They're doing something right there. They're growing the brand online. They're getting people talking about them online. I'm having this conversation with you and everyone that's watching right now because they're getting people talking about the brand because of the likes of the teasers they're doing for Slammiversary, the teasers of the signings of an EC3, of a Luke Gallows, a Carl Anderson, Eric Young, Heath Slater, and now Brian Myers. They're doing the right thing, I think, here, and I don't think it hurts Impact Wrestling. I think people that are saying, oh, they're just getting all the ex-WWE guys, they're trying to get people talking. They're trying to get people to watch the product. I don't blame them. This isn't TNA in 2010. They don't have millions and millions of dollars to put on a Kurt Angle or anything like that, and they're not getting in Hulk Hogan. They're getting in guys that can work. All of the guys that have been released, an EC3, Gallows, Anderson, Eric Young, Heath Slater, Brian Myers, they've all got a massive chip on their shoulder. They've got something to prove. Remember, these were talents that were deemed non-essential. They were deemed, they were trimming that. WWE was trimming the fat. WWE wasn't using them properly. Now it's their chance to get on a platform once again, prove themselves to be a valuable commodity, and get themselves back over. So they're signing guys that are hungry, they want to work. You got to remember, back in the day with TNA, when they were signing a Booker T or a Kevin Nash, etc., there were rumors about these guys didn't want to work. They went to TNA because they taped, once every 2 weeks in Florida. The schedule wasn't that hard, and they sort of phoned it in. I don't think this is the case with these signings. They're hungry. They want to compete. They want to prove themselves, and they want to prove the doubt was wrong here. So I disagree with the statement completely that Impact shouldn't be signing all of these ex-WWE guys. It just hurts them. No, absolutely not. The Impact Wrestling are hyping up Slammiversary to be a restart for the company, or to, a bit of a rebirth, a new era, and it would absolutely be that with all of these stars debuting there. You've also have to factor in that recently they've lost Tessa Blanchard, Obviously, her contract expired. Impact jumped the gun a bit there and wanted to get there first, so they fired Tessa Blanchard. It's a big loss to the company, regardless of what your thoughts about her are, her outside the ring behavior, and whether or not she should have been the Impact World Champion. It's a big loss to the company. They've put a lot of time and money behind her. They've built her up. They've stood by her. She was, as your world champion, she's arguably the biggest star in the company. So that's a big loss. They need to replace that, and they need to get people in to replace that. They've also lost Michael Elgin. He was going to be in the Slammiversary main event, but they've lost him now. Rightfully so, by the way. Someone accused of those things, if they are true, shouldn't be hired in your company. But I think it does Impact Wrestling favors to bring in these stars, because the most important thing is to get people talking. Going into arguably your second biggest show of the year, you want people talking about your brand positively, and that's what they're doing. The stars they're signing, they have a point to prove, and they can help the show and they can help the program. And I mentioned it before, Impact Wrestling thriving, easy for me to say, Impact Wrestling growing, and Impact Wrestling doing well is what is best for the professional wrestling business as a whole. We need places apart from WWE where talent can go to make money and to get over. You know, you can go to work in WWE. If it doesn't work out there, if you're not happy, you can go to AEW. But that roster is crowded too. You've got big stars in AEW. If you want to get over and you know you're not going to get the time on AEW or WWE, you can go to an Impact Wrestling. You can get over. You can go to an NWA. You can go there and get over. You can go to a Ring of Honor. You can go there. You can get over. You can go to Japan. There's places to go to work. That's the most important thing here. Having these, it's almost like the rebirth of the territory system, isn't it? You know, you've got WWE in New York or Connecticut. You've got AEW in Florida or Georgia where they're based. You've got Impact Wrestling. Obviously, they're based out in Canada now. You know, you've got NWA that's based in Atlanta as well. You're getting the territories back. You know, that's good. You've got ROH based out, is it Baltimore they're based out of? So you've got the territory's almost coming back, and it's a good thing for professional wrestling. It's the right thing for professional wrestling. It's what is going to help the business thrive, and it's places to work, places to earn money, most importantly to provide for their families, and places to get better as a talent and get over. Now, with Brian Myers teasing that he's going to go to Impact Wrestling, it leads to the question, does it mean that Zack Ryder's coming to Impact? Maybe. I think personally, and I don't know the information about this, he hasn't teased as much as to where he will be going. He's teased about, obviously, his non-compete clause expiring. I don't know if he specifically said the July 18th date. He's posted a couple of tweets about always being ready. That's kind of been his thing, even when he was back in WWE and not being used. Does it mean that Zack Ryder comes to Impact? Who knows at this point? Who knows? They haven't teased him. Impact certainly haven't teased him as of yet. Personally, in my opinion, I think it would be a lot better for Zack Ryder to go to Impact instead of an AEW. He's been linked with both. Of course, he's very close friends with Cody Rhodes, so people are speculating that he could go there, but like many people have said, it's not show friends, it's show business. With Brian Myers going to Impact, I think Ryder could possibly go there. Look, Zack Ryder, this is why I think it's important that Zack Ryder goes to Impact Wrestling and not an AEW. Zack Ryder in Impact Wrestling can be a world champion. Without a doubt, Zack Ryder in Impact Wrestling can be a world champion. Regardless of if you think he's a big enough star or not, in that environment, in that company, with the following he has on social media and the following that he has, Impact Wrestling would certainly look at him as a potential world champion. He's been in WWE for 15 years? I think he's got a million followers on Twitter, something close to that. He could be a world champion. Impact Wrestling would be more than happy to stick the belt on him and ride him to the moon. But if Zack Ryder goes to an AEW, at most, I would say he could probably be a TNT champion at the very best. But most likely, at the moment, he would just appear on Dark most of the time. He's done his time doing that. He's done his time appearing on Main Event or Superstars or whatever. You know, going to Impact Wrestling, I think, is the best move for him. The AEW roster, I mentioned it earlier in the video, the AEW roster at the moment is stacked with talent. It really is stacked with talent. What's best for his career right now, in my opinion, is to go to Impact, along with Brian Myers. He can compete with a Gallows and Anderson, the North, in the tag team division if he wants to there, but I think he could absolutely be in the main event. We've spoken about the mystery fourth competitor in the main event for Slammiversary. I mentioned about it being Brian Myers. Some people have speculated it could be EC3. I'm not sure if it will be EC3, to be honest. I still do think EC3 is signing with Impact Wrestling. I think the EC3 feud at the moment is with Moose and over the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, the Real World Championship. Of course, I mentioned yesterday, EC3 could be the fourth guy in the Fatal 4-Way, win the Impact World Championship and then feud with Moose, winner takes all, 2 championships kind of deal. But what if EC3 is just going to feud with Moose and then the mystery fourth competitor in the Fatal 4-Way match is none other than Zack Ryder himself? Now that's interesting. That's very interesting. I think that's something that would get a lot of buzz. A lot of people would be, it'd be a bit like when Cody Rhodes won the Ring of Honor World Championship. A lot of people would start going, finally Zack Ryder gets an opportunity, wins a World Championship. He was never going to win a World Championship in WWE. Even at his peak, I'm not sure if he was going to win a World Championship in WWE. But if he goes outside of WWE and AEW, he's got a chance of winning the World Championship at a Ring of Honor, at an Impact Wrestling or an NWA. So I think going to an Impact Wrestling is what's best for Zack Ryder right now, along with Brian Myers. But of course, this is just one man's opinion. What is your opinion on Brian Myers, Curt Hawkins potentially signing with Impact Wrestling and appearing at Slammiversary? Do you think Zack Ryder will join him? Where do you think Zack Ryder will go? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now. Or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Be sure to follow us too on all of our social media platforms on the screen right now. That's at 365Wrestle on Twitter and at Wrestle News 365 on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you've come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.